Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing a review of a comic book, specifically Claws, featuring Wolverine and the Black Cat. Now I haven't actually looked at a Wolverine comic in a very long time, and I don't think I've ever read a story where the Black Cat was a main character. And this is by Joe Lisner, Jimmy Palmiotti, and Justin Gray. And one of the things I liked about this, and the reason I picked it up, was I liked the art style right off the bat. I also liked the ink and the inking and the lettering as well. And so we have the story opening up with Peter Parker being an ass, which to my mind was kind of appropriate, because if you think about it, when Peter Parker is in his ordinary life, he's this nerd, a geek. When he puts the costume on, he gets to be the cocky, self-assured individual that he kind of wishes he always was, but he goes too far into that direction. He thinks he's far more charming and clever than he actually is, because he is physically quite good at what he does, and depending on which version of Peter Parker, he is either just a talented photographer or a chemical genius. He doesn't have any particular social graces. He isn't particularly clever or charming. He thinks he is, though. And the Black Cat is being presented here as a very independent, self-assured woman who doesn't want to put up with the crap that Parker is dishing out, which is quite understandable. Then we have the introduction of Wolverine, and his character here is interesting because he's trying to get through a metal detector at an airport, and the only reason he can do it is by contacting Emma Frost to get her to take over the mind of the agent in question and just let him through, because there is no way he can get through a metal detector in the modern era. Though you think he gets some kind of medical compensation written up for that. I'm sure that they have some kind of connection somewhere they can do that. And then you see the two of them being captured for a Most Dangerous Game, because that's what this is. This is a retelling of the Most Dangerous Game. And I always found it kind of annoying, because you always find heroes, in this case Black Cat, which is kind of a anti-hero, and the Wolverine, which is also kind of an anti-hero. They're always extremely competent. The classic line from Wolverine is that I'm the best there is at what I do. And yet, when he needs to be captured for this kind of a storyline, it seems not to be difficult. So either he really is as good as he thinks he is, or he is not as good as he thinks he is. Then you've got a bunch of thugs who have all paid a bunch of money to go hunt these two characters. And it's explicitly said that Black Cat's been included in this because of the TNA aspect, which was does not enamor her to these people. As you can well imagine, let alone they're trying to kill her. Now you notice that they're in cages here. These cages are made of adamantium. Adamantium is supposed to be an incredibly rare substance, and yet adamantium cages are dirt cheap in this comic. Again, they've created a trope. Adamantium is rare and is only used in very exclusive situations, such as Wolverine's skeletal structure and his claws. Except when they need it to be dirt common, so that he cannot get to people who would otherwise be easily killed by Wolverine. So it's an entertaining story. I like the interplay between the two characters. Getting to see them take on the bad guys was quite interesting. Wolverine is nasty. There definitely are deaths in here. There's no questions asked. These people are not being captured. There's not necessarily even off screen. There's blood and violence, and there's a lot of overt sexism and misogyny in this particular comic. But it's all very appropriate to the individuals portrayed. It makes sense. These people are being misogynistic. It is not being supported. The comic itself is not saying that misogyny or sexism is acceptable, because it isn't. But I really like the art in this, and I liked the characters that were presented. You've got giant robots. You can't go wrong with giant robots. You have the toy, is it the toy maker or something like that? But he's the bad guy in this, and he's he's shown as being as petty as you really imagine he would be. I think that the whole idea of Wolverine being able to pilot a jet was pushing the bounds of the believable. I could almost believe he could pilot a plane, a prop plane, because they've been around for a really long time. I don't know if I believe him being able to pilot a jet. That I think is taking it a bit far. Then you've got a giant monster, which you can't go wrong with as well. And as I mentioned, it's very well done, and it's quite an interesting take on a sea monster. So I enjoyed that. And then at the end of the comic, we have a sketchbook, and I really enjoyed the sketchbook. The sketchbook was quite nice. Her costumes are over the top. There's no questions asked there. But they did a really nice job of portraying Logan as being very feral, and I like that. And of course, there's a lot of cheesecake, a little beefcake in here as well. But whenever Wolverine's involved, there's always going to be. Oh yeah, and I do like the old man Logan image in that particular spot right there. So I never read any of the further. I guess this is the first 3 issues. I have no idea how far this particular comic went, or is it still going? I don't know. Here we have some Peter Parker shots. Here we have a bus that was done based on that sketch there. I only have one bus myself, and that's Deathlock. I'm not a big bus collector. And then we have another nice shot of Wolverine, and then a kind of a slightly comedic shot at the end. So overall, I really enjoyed Claws with Black Cat and Wolverine, and I actually have to look up Black Cat's abilities. I don't know what I know she has some actual superpowers, and they're luck-based, and not to mention being physically quite talented with climbing and being a second-story person and some martial arts skill. But I'm not really all that familiar with her character in the least, and who knows how many iterations she's gone through over the years. That's one of the reasons I don't read comics much anymore. All the associated soap opera aspects of it. It's a combination soap opera and wrestling all rolled into one. I guess then again, you could probably consider wrestling to be a form of soap opera as well. But I enjoyed Claws, and if you are a fan of either of these characters, I think you enjoyed it as well.